30-30. Good morning, everyone. It is almost 100 degrees out here today, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about something that has been on my mind lately, and it's about if the shit hits the fan, as some of you put it, what are seniors going to do? I am 54 years old, and yeah, getting up there. I feel great. But things I know are going to decline eventually. Today I'm out here and I have a few thoughts on my mind about preparing for a future and preparing for what's coming down the road with all of this craziness going around with the elections and so on. I have been a prepper for many years, and I have been stocking up on guns, ammo, food, all kinds of things for many years. But I come across a lot of senior citizens, and I'm not a senior citizen yet, but I'm 54 years old, and obviously I'm getting to, time is flying by. So I had an interesting conversation with a senior these weekend, and it kind of prompted me to really do this video. I've thought about it, but I've been postponing it, and today I figured, well, today's going to be the day, and I'm going to talk about prepping, seniors and prepping, and what to expect if another COVID craziness or something worse, or shit hit the fan, as they call it, happens, and where do seniors stand when it comes to that. Today I'm shooting a lever action, Henry lever action, collar case hardened. It's one of my favorite guns of all time. It's probably the gun that I would carry around with me along with my AR-15, if you will. That could be another video, but today that's what I'm shooting. 30-30 collar case hardened lever action. Beautiful, beautiful gun. Here's really an all-American gun in 30-30, and that's what I'm shooting today. I also got my handgun, and I also got my trusted 22, which I'm going to take a couple of shots with also. But yeah, so that's one of the things that I've been concerned about is, seniors and shit hit the fan. I have a nice little 22 here that I've had for quite a while, and I have a 10-22 at home also that I like, but this is a it's a Revelation. It's a Revelation R125B. It's in 22 long rifle, and it's been around for many years. It's an older gun, but I love shooting this thing, and take a couple of shots with it also. It's a 10 rounder, but unfortunately I could only put 5 rounds in it, and if I put more than 5 rounds it has a tendency to jam, and so I put 5 rounds. It's just a little plinking gun. Here's the 22 that I'm shooting today, I don't think they make these anymore, but it's a nice fun gun to shoot. It's never the disaster, it's the aftermath. That's the big thing. So the disaster happens, and whoever survives. But then, like with COVID, you saw with something as simple as COVID, how crazy people went for toilet paper, for example. And things, of course, were escalating there for a while. And it quickly started getting a little bit out of control. So imagine a situation where the grid's down, there's no more food being brought to stores, and that's a much more complicated situation. So when COVID hit, people went crazy, but people still knew that there was still some function of the government and the food chain and all of that. It was still working. But people still got into crazy mindset of hoarding toilet paper, and you quickly saw toilet paper and other things disappearing. And so from that to a grid down situation, you would have obviously people knowing for a fact that food chain is cut down, the medical supply is cut down, and the shit really hits the fan when they know that there's no food coming to the supermarket, and all of a sudden, in a matter of days, food is gone and the supermarket shelves are empty and the supermarkets are closed due to having nothing in the shelves. Then the aftermath that's the aftermath. That's when things really get complicated for everybody, and especially for seniors or people with health issues. So of course, with something like that, you're going to have the nice guy, the good guys who will try to help, and they will help senior citizens, and they will help their neighbor and so on, or acquaintances, if you will, for a while. But when things really start getting bad, if it's a short-lived thing, it's one situation. But if you're going for months, weeks and weeks, and then months and months are going to translate into years, even the nice guys are going to start saying, hey, wait a second, now I got to think about myself and my family. Neighbor, I love you, but I'm sorry, my family comes first. And if you're a senior, at that point, who can you count on? So of course, if you browse the internet long enough and you look on the internet at people's comments, you're going to see also the other spectrum of civilization, which is the guy with guns, or the guys who say, hey, I don't need to prep because I'm coming for your things. And that's a very, very legit comment, because there are a lot of people out there that's what they will do. They're not prepping because they think, well, I got guns, I got ammo, I got enough to, I'm not worried. I'm just going to go and go for my neighbor's things, or my old friend, he's got a lot of stuff. And at this point, I don't care that he's a friend or not, so I'm going to come for his stuff, and I'm going to raid his house, his family, and I'm going to take all these things. Of course, if you're a senior citizen or somebody that, even younger people have health issues, if you're in that situation of being a senior citizen or having health issues, of course, my first concern, along with water and food, of course, is medication. Medication is going to be a big problem, or can be a big problem. And don't mind me if you see me looking down. I just have some notes that I've taken because it's hard to remember everything that I wanted to convey to you today. But according to the Georgetown Health Policy Institute, 75% of people aged 50 to 64 use prescription drugs, and it jumps to 91% for anyone 80 and above. Of course, the problem with shooting these 22 with only 5 rounds is that it goes by really fast. Let me reload a few more. One of the things that I have been doing for a while, and I recommend that every senior or everyone should be doing, is looking into alternative medicine. And remember that a lot of these medications are made from natural ingredients or based on things that are found in nature. So something that I like to do is finding supplements or things that can supplement me or provide me with the benefits of pain, reducing pain, for example, inflammation, things like that. If I don't have the medicine, what can I use as a substitute that I can find in Mother Nature? Another thing that I been doing for a while and that I am familiar with is the fact that you can get a lot of these things online. You can prep. If you can afford to buy extra medication, then you can go online and actually find a lot of places online where you can buy these medications that you need. And sometimes all you need is a prescription bottle that you have from a previous prescription. Many of these sites have doctors that will take a look at that and prescribe and allow you to buy the medication. Now, your insurance might not cover that, but if you can purchase that out of your own pocket, then that's definitely a big solution. Of course, I know not everybody's going to be able to do that due to their finances, but of course, if you look at other ways of supplementing your medication with natural products, then perhaps that's a way to go. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of antibiotics, for example, I've been stocking up on antibiotics just because it's something that, again, it's one of the first things to go. A lot of people don't realize antibiotics are manufactured in China and India and places like that outside of the United States. And of course, if the shit hits the fan, what's the first thing they're going to do is keep it all for themselves, and they're not going to send it over here, especially a country like China. So keep in mind that a lot of these antibiotics and a lot of medications that are used in animals like horses, dogs, and even for fish, if you're into aquariums and stuff, you can find a lot of these antibiotics and a lot of these drugs in pet stores, places like Rural King, Tractor Supply, and a lot of these things can be bought online as well. And I've noticed when a lot of the pills, a lot of the antibiotics that are for horses and for dogs are exactly the same for humans. The pill is exactly the same. The number on the pill is exactly the same. So if you're buying antibiotics for a dog or for a horse, there's no prescription needed. So that's food for thought. Another thing that I urge you to consider if you're a senior citizen is to move closer to family, be closer to family, unless they moved away from you because of you, which hopefully that's not the case, but move closer to family. If you don't have family, try to come into a community or get in a community of like-minded people, preferably if you're prepping, maybe a community of preppers. Sometimes it takes us moving from a state where we are. I just recently moved from Connecticut to Indiana to be with more like-minded people and people who have more family values and also who believe in the Constitution of the United States. You need to educate yourself, and not just for your own benefit and being knowledgeable and being somebody that has something to offer, but also that you can pass on that information and share that knowledge with future generations. Because when you become a senior citizen, for example, or somebody that is not able to run around now and go hunting or go defend the community from an attack, for example, you have to bring something onto the table. You got to bring something in. You have to be able to provide something. If you cannot provide anything, the chances of you being protected and being helped by somebody or being a valuable member of a community. It decreases tremendously. Well, just when everything is going well, my camera runs out of space. So older people bring a lot to the table, or can bring a lot to the table, especially if they have professions also that they've retired from. Don't forget that in the older or senior citizen community, for example, you're going to find your retired doctors and your retired carpenters and your retired plumbers, electricians, people who know a trade. And perhaps they're not as good with their hands anymore because of arthritis or something like that, but their knowledge is still there. So they are a source of knowledge. And people who have read a lot of books and have a lot of knowledge, especially if they're still healthy, keep that in mind. And keep in mind that older people also are a generation of people who read books and did not live in a digital world. So because of that, you're going to have people like myself, for example. I'm a little older. I'm 54. I'm not a senior citizen yet, but I lived in a time where, cell phones and all of this digital world did not exist. So what did I accumulate over the years? Books. I have a lot of books, and still today I buy a lot of books because I enjoy reading a good book. I'm not into novels or sci-fi too much or anything like that. My books are mostly about knowledge and how to do things like diet, a proper human diet, being that I'm a carnivore myself, and just books about things that you're going to need, like plants and medicine in plants, and all kinds of other things that I've just educated myself along the years by reading books. So I have not relied too much on YouTube until more recently. I watch more YouTube, but in my past years have been my learning has been from doing it and learning it from people who actually know how to do something that I'm trying to learn, from other mentors, and by reading and accumulating a collection of books that actually has all of this knowledge. So when the shit hits the fan, all your digital stuff is probably going to be gone. If there's no electricity, even if there's no electricity for a few days or for, a year or so, and you come across a situation that you need to fix something and you can't go to YouTube to find out how to fix something, what are you going to do? You're going to rely on either someone that knows how to do it, you're going to rely on knowledge and doing it because you know how to do it, or maybe a good book if you have to show you how to do these things. So you have to be able to provide some sort of a service, and the service doesn't have to be going out there with a gun and defending, your community. If you can, great, more power to you. But if you can't, you have to have something to bring to the table, and in this case, it could be knowledge. Knowledge is power. Remember, senior citizens are going to be at a much higher risk of being targeted for crimes, for violence, because they're more vulnerable. Not all of them. I mean, there are a lot of senior citizens that I definitely would avoid if I were you. If you are that guy that's going to come for everybody else's things, there are a lot of senior citizens out there that are very well prepared. I see a lot of preppers in my communities and the groups that I attend, and even on YouTube. A lot of the preppers are 50, 60 and up. These are people that are resilient. There are people that are war veterans. These are people that are, again, from a generation that made us a lot more resilient. We love our guns. We educated ourselves. We come from a much different generation, so keep that in mind. One of the concerns that I also have for some of the senior citizens that I know, and in particular the one that I spoke with this weekend, is somebody that has been prepping, somewhat prepping, I call it. He has lots of guns, lots of ammo, lots of trinkets and fire starting things, but he's lacking in food. And that's something that I'm finding quite a bit in the older or some of the older prepping community. Sometimes it's just older guys who did not pay attention to circumstances, and they did not prep or start prepping early enough because, I don't know, they were lawyers or they were doctors, and that was not a a concern for them, but now they're kind of more aware of circumstances and more aware of what's going on around the world. So I see them. These are people usually that have a good bank account. They have money. They have a means to go out and start buying things quickly, unlike many others, who just have been doing it along the years. But what I am seeing is that they're spending a lot of money buying guns or collecting guns and ammo, and other things to start fire. For example, water filtration is another one. But I am seeing a lack of food. So if you are prepping, remember you could have all of the guns and ammo and the water filtration system, but you definitely need to put a lot of focus into food. Food storage it should really be a very, very high priority. Something else that I think would be very wise to get is a generator. A generator to generate electricity when there's no electricity is definitely something that I would highly consider. And don't skimp out. If you can, get the very best that you can. Don't skimp out on that, and perhaps also just storage of gasoline. Because remember, after all, you might be taking care of a loved one, you might be taking care of a spouse. Maybe you are somebody, you or your spouse, who needs a CPAP machine. You need to recharge batteries, or you need electricity, even if it's just for a little bit, to run a ham radio or some form of communication, which is another thing that I really recommend is communication. Remember, cell phones are going to go down, but ham citizens radio, for example, is not going to go down as easy. If you have even if you have a generator that you can turn on temporarily just to run the radio for an hour or so every night to try to communicate with somebody, or once or twice a week or something like that, a ham radio is definitely something to consider. Something I would definitely consider also is to purchase things like a wheelchair, some crutches, some tourniquets, things like that. Oh my God, this is such an important one. Have a proper medical kit available at all times. So besides having storage of medication, if you can, and antibiotics, have a proper first aid kit. Not a rinky-dinky little CVS thing. You really need to think about putting together a proper first aid kit just in case also. But I would definitely go out and like I have done, I have a set of crutches. A wheelchair is something also to have. And yeah, if shit hits the fan, you could probably find some of those things, but why rely on maybe I should be able to find? No, have something, because you never know if you're going to need it, or your spouse is going to need it, or a loved one is going to need. And God forbid you need to move around, and you have somebody that's incapacitated, you need to be able to move them around. And if they can sit in a wheelchair, that can make your life a lot easier. Not only that person's life, but your life. So I would think about a set of crutches, a wheelchair, and something for taking a shower, something you can use when you go to the bathroom. Also, the little support canes that they have, and so on. So I think that's also important to have. Better have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So the bottom line is community. And caring for our elders should be a big priority. But our elders have to also realize that they cannot be huge burdens, right? So, of course, if an elder has Alzheimer's, or they're in a situation that's out of their control, that's one thing. But if you are able to function, if you're able to cook, if you're able to share your knowledge, that's something you need to be able to bring to the table. And the more knowledge you have, the more valuable you're going to be for your community. If you are someone who knows how to cook, that's valuable. If you know how to cook well, it's even more valuable. It's something that definitely is going to be, or there's going to be a need for. And if you're someone that, for example, was a a hunter and you know how to cook venison, you know how to cook wild meats and wild and fish and wild animals, and prepare them and make that, you know, something that is going to be enjoyable by your community. That's a huge asset to the community to have somebody like that. And most of us older people, I've grown up with that knowledge. I am somebody who knows how to cook very well. I hunt, I fish, I know how to prep, I know how to start a fire from nothing, and I know how to cook that food and make it tasty. So that's a huge plus if you're that somebody who knows how to do that. Also remember, electricians, plumbers, teachers. Somebody's going to have to teach our new generations also how to read. You could have all these great books with great knowledge. Let's imagine that the shit hit the fan and the grid is down. There's no electricity. The computers are long gone. Who's going to pass the knowledge over to our children? Our elders are. So if you have elders that are going to be your retired teachers, they're a valuable asset to the community because they can teach our children, and as we would start new communities with new schools and so on, somebody's going to have to pass that knowledge over to the younger generations. What good is it to have all of these books if you don't know how to read them? Another thing I really believe it's important is for you guys to go out and practice. You can have all of the guns you want, but if you don't know how to use them and you don't practice with them, you're going to be in trouble also. So if you're a senior, everyone should go out there and practice, go to the range and shoot. But especially if you're a senior and you're suffering with little things like arthritis and so on, you should continue to try to shoot and prepare yourself to use that gun in case you have to. Get out to the range and practice. Take younger ones with you. Show the younger generation how to do it. And again, that's another valuable tool. If you know how to shoot a gun, if you know how to reload, and you know how to safely handle a firearm, you're another asset in your community. Even if you can't shoot anymore, but if you know something about reloading, something about gunsmithing, things like that can also be a great benefit. Get out there and practice. Get out there and keep yourself motivated. Keep yourself sharp with your firearm. Don't just collect firearms and ammo, because you need to be proficient with your firearms also. Remember, as you get older, muscle memory is still very important. So you need to really, and perhaps one more reason to go out and practice if you're a senior citizen is to keep that muscle memory going, which is very important with a firearm. Remember, you can have all the gun and ammo stored in your basement, but if you don't know how to use it or you're not proficient with it, that could be a problem. Muscle memory is something that you can lose also. So you could be a great shooter, but if you don't get out there and practice, that's not just for senior citizens, but for somebody young too. If you don't get out and practice, you will lose your muscle memory. Muscle memory is key to be safe and to be proficient with a firearm. Your elders, your senior citizens are books of knowledge. They are banks of knowledge, of information. Many years of knowledge collected. Not only just knowledge, but knowledge from reading, knowledge from educating themselves, and from doing what they're good at. Treat your elders with love and respect, and show them that they are a valuable asset to the community. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like, as I am trying to grow this channel and come out with some more videos for you guys. And if you have any questions, hey, feel free to reach out, and I will do my very best to answer your questions, okay? I love these guns. My mom hates them. I love them. I know when I shot that red spray paint can, it burst all over the place as we saw in the video, but look at where it went. Poor guy's in bad shape, isn't he? And that was with the 30-30. Every time I hit cans or something, they always fly quite far. We gotta bring in some watermelons and some water bottles one of these days. Let's see what we got here. That was a nice explosion. That red can was pretty much empty, but I guess there was still a little bit in it. And those are cans that I use here in the range to color the metal targets. But look at that. Oh, I forgot about this little gopher right here, didn't I? Oh, he got to live another day. But the other ones over here, I was shooting the one on the left. Let's see. There it is. These are hard because they blend in a little bit from where I was. But that one I got it. These one I wasn't shooting at. And these one I shot. There it is. Haha, see it? There it is. Nice little gophers. They're fun to shoot, but they do blend in because they're brown. And from the distance I was at, it's kind of hard to see them. But the little yellow dots was what I was aiming at. Yeah, that'll be a done gopher. Definitely that one. Whew. Anyway, that was with the 22. And that's the metal target I was shooting at today. And you see how that target has that slant right there? That's so important. A lot of people don't realize that. That slant and the coil up on the top. And I've shot the hell out of this. This thing actually broke once and I had to tighten it, and I didn't have extra washers, so hey, you make do with what you got. But that slant is so important, guys. Remember that, because if you look when the bullets hit the metal target, if there's a slant and there's a flexibility in it, then the shrapnel, it'll go on the floor. And that's usually not the lead part of the bullet that splatters all over the place. It's actually the jacket. I've seen the jacket of bullets flying back quite a bit. So you'll find pieces of the jacket here. Let me see if I can show you. Let me get a stick here and look. See the jacket? Yeah, the jacket of the bullet is the one thing that has a tendency to fly back a lot. Remember to clean up your range afterwards. Don't just leave brass laying around. Your lawnmower won't like it too much. And these 30-30 shells are great for reloading.